We have the latest Dallas Stars updates, including Matt Dumba ahead of tonight's game against the Utah Hockey Club. Matt Rempe received an 8-game suspension for his hit on Miro Heiskanen and will play Shooting Star.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars are back on the road after 2 weeks at the American Airlines Center in Utah tonight to take on the Hockey Club and beginning to show signs of being fully healthy once again. We have the latest updates, including Matt Dumba. Matt Rempe received an 8-game suspension for his hit on Miro Heiskanen the other night. Too few or too many? You let me know in the comments below. We'll play Shooting Star to wrap up a Monday edition of Locked On Stars that is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We will begin with the latest updates here on a Sunday. Sam Nestler was at practice, and Matt Dumba was on the ice wearing a full bubble, skating with the team for the first time since the Calgary game exactly 2 weeks ago. So some good news there on Matt Dumba. I'm curious how the Stars and head coach Pete DeBoer trot out their next lineup once Matt Dumba is fully healthy and is able to resume playing, because Liam Bichsel has made quite the impact on me and I think on the Dallas Stars. Who is going to be the healthy scratch on the back end for Dallas? That's one of my burning questions heading in to the next week or so, or coming out of the Christmas break. Miro Heiskanen is all right following the hit by Matt Rempe. We'll get to the 8-game suspension here in a bit. Thomas Harley looks to be good to go. He did check back into the lineup last game against the Rangers, along with Lundkvist, who are really fighting that flu bug. Casey DeSmith was backing up Jake Ottinger. I know he's been a hot topic of conversation among Stars fans recently about, does the staff trust him and why have him if you're not going to use him? But we have to pump the brakes on that one. They do trust Casey DeSmith. He was dealing with the flu. They have to ride Jake Ottinger pretty hard here over the last few weeks. I would suspect Otter's going to get a lengthy amount of rest here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, because they want him to be as healthy and fresh as possible as they continue to make this push, because currently the Dallas Stars are outside of a playoff spot. They have fallen to just a point outside of a wild card position after being idle here over the last few days. So Dallas has issues to be fixed, of course, but getting healthy once again is a positive sign. They have had to deal with the flu bug, and who knows how many Stars are actually just playing through the flu bug. But here are the lines on a Sunday afternoon. Hintz, Robertson, and Bork. They're continuing to let that trio marinate. I'm still asking the question if those two ever get split up between Rope and Robo. I called for it really early in the season, and then they went completely bonkers the next game. And I called for it like a week ago, and they had actually a pretty decent game following my call for them to be split up. But it doesn't change the fact that the Stars are not scoring enough. And it hasn't been the lack of chances for Dallas. It is simply finding the back of the net. You look at their expected goals for at 5-on-5. It's top 10 in the NHL. It's not astounding, but it's still top 10. If you go to all situations, their expected goals for 109.88. That is 6th in the NHL. They are not finishing off their chances. And this pretty much sums up the Stars here over the last month. Jay Fresh Hockey, who I really like his content on Twitter, he puts out the goal save above expected numbers. He puts team finishing in there, all different types of advanced analytics from Top Down Hockey. And this is team finishing on December 22nd. So on a Sunday, as I'm recording this, the Stars are 29th in the NHL, minus 8.0 in goals scored above expected. Team finishing. That is the story of the Stars over the last month. They are creating looks and chances. They are not bearing down. And the power play has a lot to do with that this season. If you look at the goal save above expected, the number is not as high as it was in the first month or two of the season where Jake Ottinger had this team up in first. It is now sixth at plus 9.0. So the goaltending hasn't taken a huge dip. That hasn't been a huge issue. It's been a part of the problem, but in context, Otters started 8 games of the last 17 games or 17 days, which is not to his fault. Smith was dealing with the bug, and they've ran through this course, and hopefully they're coming out on the other end. But it is finishing. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen, Stars fans. Team finishing minus 8.0 right now. Goals scored above expected. 29th in the NHL. That is the story of the Dallas Stars season in a nutshell, not just over this last month. They need a pure goal scorer in the worst way. One of you aptly commented that on one of my X posts on Locked On Stars. Be sure to follow that, by the way. They need a pure goal scorer. And yes, and they have them on their team. It's just if they're going to get it or not, because really Dallas has been able to rely on Duchesne, Marchment, and Johnston. You can throw Rope in there, who has 14 goals. I mean, he leads the Dallas Stars. But you're not getting it from Robertson. You're not getting it from Ben. You're not getting it from Johnson or Stankoven. Those are very, very key components of the Stars offense. And you're tired of me probably pointing it out for the last 3 months, covering the Dallas Stars, that they need these guys to step up. But it's a problem. It's a trend. And now Dallas is out of a playoff spot currently. And look, it's not time to alarm the sirens. It's not time to ring the bells. They pick up a win, they'll be right back into third place in the Central. But if you're not going to get better, it can get worse. It can get worse if Dutchy and Marchment start to go dry, and if Robertson and others continue on this same path this season. It could get ugly in a hurry, because there are teams staying around and keeping in the mix, and the trade deadline will be interesting, I believe. If the West stays this way, Seattle's right there still. I mean, they're 7 points out, but St. Louis, Utah sticking around. There's some different teams that can make the Stars' life hell, and Dallas needs to beat them, and they have a chance to do that tonight against the Utah Hockey Club, who's coming off a big win over Minnesota. Currently recording this before they play tonight, so they do get the HC on the back end of a back-to-back. So it is a must-win, as a must-win can really be in December, which is odd to say, but it really does feel that way for the Dallas Stars. But expected goals for, ladies and gentlemen, this is all situations. It's sixth in the NHL. It is not a lack of scoring chances. It is just bearing down and finding the back of the net. Always easier said than done, but look at the game against New York, 40-something scoring chances. The game prior against Toronto, I think it was 40-something scoring chances, and they get a combined 3 goals out of 2 goals, 3, and one of them was with the extra attacker. So there you go. They have to bear down, but some positive signs on the latest updates, including everybody was on the sheet here on a Sunday participating in practice. Let's get to the Matt Rempe suspension. So he received 8 games for his hit on Miro Heiskanen. Too few, too many. You let me know in the comments below. I'll be honest, I was shocked it was even that high. And the real reason it was 8 games was because he's a repeat offender. This comes from Dan Rosen, who's a senior writer for NHL.com. 8-game suspension for the boarding/elbowing. Rempe is considered a repeat offender under the terms of the CBA and will forfeit $80,000 because of his 8-game suspension. Many of you know David Castillo, and he is fired up about this hit. And maybe I should be more fired up, but he said 8 games for Rempe's elbow. It's basically, sure, it's a bad hit, but it's hockey's a physical sport. So here's 8 games against a career's worth of games that you jeopardized. If hockey truly thought this hit was garbage, it would be punished like garbage. And that's sort of where I fall in this situation. And I was on the Locked On NHL podcast today. That episode is coming out today when you'll be hearing this on a Monday. And I was asked about it. I have always found it weird that the NHL specifically has always accepted checking from behind for the most part. I grew up going to games with my dad, going to Stars games, and I always saw hits from behind. And they're not all terrible hits, by the way, but sometimes, look, you see it all the time with Miro. He's, a foot away from the boards and he makes a pass as he's retreating. He throws it around the boards and he gets hammered really on the backside for the most part. And it's sort of always accepted. And I always found that so weird because when I grew up playing and when I started to hit at like 9 years of age, it was like 8. That's when it used to be 8. I think it's like 11 or 12 now. It's crazy that they had us hitting at like 8 years old. But I think there was some advantage to that. Anyways, you never hit from behind. They used to have stop signs on jerseys. You saw numbers, you peel away or you stop and you engage with your stick and you battle, or you do this kind of stop and you bear hug into the wall. Right. But the hitting from behind has sort of always been accepted. And Matt Rempe's job is to do exactly that. I'm sorry. That's exactly what he's really encouraged to do or instructed to do. He's out there to hammer people. And it wasn't just Miro that he tried to kill on the night. He was running around and hitting everything in a victory green sweater. But this hit has always been here. And if there was a stricter law on it, where if you hit somebody in the numbers, you get yada, 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 this wouldn't happen as much. But it's always been in the game. And I'm not saying that's right. It is wrong. It's sort of the point I'm making. It has to be taken out of the game because it's a dangerous hit. And I'm sorry. The only intent there on Rempe's hit is to try to hurt Miro Heiskanen. It's his job to try to hurt him. And some of you can say that's okay. That's hockey. And I understand that. But to some degree, there needs to be a strict letter on. Like, you got to try to take that hit out of the game. It's dangerous. He's not trying to separate the guy from the puck. He's not even going after the puck. He's intently trying to hurt Miro. And look, some of what hockey is trying to hurt your opponent. And I hate to say that. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but like that is sort of the game. Like, it's kind of the argue with football. Like, they're trying to take a lot out of that because it's better. It's better for the game. It's more enjoyable to watch your star players play. And we are fortunate Miro is not out at all, because that could have been dangerous. Could have been out for months. And instead, he's back up because he's an absolute G. No, but for real, it has to be taken out. So I was shocked because 8 games feels like a lot to me based off what we've seen from the NHL. So I was like, okay, like 8 feels okay. Should it be more, like David is suggesting? Yeah, probably. But that's not the case. So there you go on the Matt Rempe situation. Went a bit longer here on this first segment. Let's preview the Utah Hockey Club. Stars looking for a second consecutive win at the Delta Center here this evening. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when you hit those picks, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as little as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, you can eye the hockey board. Jack Hughes, more than 4 shots on goal. Artemi Panarin, more than 1 assist. It's so simple to make picks and have fun with your friends and cash out. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. The Dallas Stars have successfully won at the Delta Center in their first go at it a month ago, or I should say actually at the beginning of this month. The schedule has been crazy. It feels like it was a month ago. A 2-1 victory over Utah. If you do remember, Casey DeSmith put up a masterclass in that game, had 36 saves. Utah was humming, and Dallas was pretty lucky to get out of there with a win. But Utah has been on a run. They've won 4 straight. They have picked up points in 7 straight. And one of their losses was a shootout loss to Minnesota. But they beat Minnesota, Vancouver, San Jose, and Colorado here over the last week. 4 wins in a row, 7-1-2 in their last 10. This is going to be an absolute battle for the Dallas Stars tonight. And they're led by Dylan Guenther, who's having a breakout season, 16 goals, 32 points in 32 games. Clayton Keller, of course, is always the player to watch out for. He is really fun to watch, number one, and he seems to be a Stars killer, dating back to when he was taken by the Arizona Coyotes. They have a really good back end with Sergachev and Kesselring. They're starting to get a bit more healthy. They did lose Dursey earlier in the season, along with Marino. They are out for 3, 4 to 6 months. So they are without a couple of key pieces on the back end, but they're starting to turn things around in Utah and coming off a big win against Minnesota. As I mentioned earlier, they are playing tonight. I believe it's against Anaheim. They're currently 2-1 as I'm recording this at the first intermission over the Ducks. So we'll find out if they come away with a win by tonight. But 16-11-5, 37 points. That's 5th in the Central Division, and they are sniffing around a playoff spot. They're a good team, and they will make you pay if you're not prepared. So we'll see how Dallas comes out here tonight. And that really hasn't been a huge issue for the Stars this season. In terms of their starts, last year it was always the slow starts, especially on home ice. This year, a lot of examples of the first 5 minutes, they come out scorching, they get a goal, and then within the game, they just sort of nosedive and collapse. They have struggled to put 60-minute hockey games together. They have really, really struggled to do that, especially over the last month. And they have to be better as a team for 60 minutes on a night in and night out basis, because I do not have a lot of faith in what we're seeing from the Dallas Stars here. I'm still optimistic about Dallas as a whole, but I do not believe this team is ready to compete for a Stanley Cup. Not even close, to be completely honest, let alone get back to a Western Conference final with what has transpired here this season. There are a lot of guys and plenty of issues that the Stars have to resolve, including the power play, which is now 25th in the NHL at 16%. The road power play has been okay, Penalty kill has been fantastic. That hasn't been an issue. They've now dropped to outside the top 10 in goals per game. Goal suppression's top 5. That's sort of been consistent. If Dallas can find a way to get the scoring going and get some guys involved, I mean, Dallas could be a dangerous team. I will admit that. But they are not right now, and they haven't proven it for even 2 weeks in a row. We've seen spurts, but we have not gotten a consistency that you need to win come playoff time, or the level of effort and just determination to win in the postseason. And we're in December, and I feel like I've been fair on my criticisms of the Stars. I can be honest, I've been unfair to maybe a few individuals here and there throughout the season, I'll admit. But as a whole, there are a lot of concerns. And look, I see it on X. I see it. I certainly see the frustrations, and I'm right there with you. I probably should be a bit harder in some instances, but I feel like I've been fair. I've talked about these issues. For the most part, I feel like I've tried to be pretty spot on my observations, and many of you back those up. And tonight is a huge game. I said it feels like as must-win as a game can be in December to just build some momentum. They need some puck luck. They need something, and hopefully it begins tonight in Utah, and then they have a few days off, and you got Minnesota here on a Friday at home. It's a big week. I said it, I think, on Friday's episode, last Friday's. This is a big 5-game stretch here, 6-game stretch to close out the month of December, and then heading into 2025. But there you go, a little preview of the Stars' issues and the Utah Hockey Club. I'll give you a player to watch for Utah tonight. I'll go with Kesselring. I really like his game. 15 points in 32 games. Went to Northeastern. I'll go with Michael Kesselring tonight as a player to watch for the Utah Hockey Club. Big demon, hard to miss, 6'4", 190 pounds. So that's who I'm going with tonight as a player to watch. Now it's time to pick our MVP, hopefully our player of the game with Shooting Star, America's favorite segment. Let me know your answers and vote via the YouTube community tab. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. You love betting on the players that score touchdowns, how many points each team will score. It can be thrilling on FanDuel. Download the app, takes 30 seconds. Which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and so many more ways to bet and get in on the action with FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Shooting Star for December 23rd against the Utah Hockey Club. Let me know your prediction below. I went with Miro Heiskanen last game, and that sort of fell on its face. I've been searching to get one right here for, it feels like, the entire season. A lot of that has to do with the Stars' inability to find the back of the net. I'm going to go with Liam Bichsel tonight. Feels like we could get a Bichsel bomb in Utah. So I'm going with the Stars' young stud defenseman to have himself a contest tonight, his first at the Delta Center. Looking forward to it. So I'm going with Liam Bichsel. Be sure to vote via the YouTube community tab. Let me know in the comment section below who you are feeling. We need to help the Stars. Okay, Stars fans, it is our job to give them the answers, and it is our job to help get some guys going. Maybe pick a guy that's been in a slump a bit, get them going. So I'm going to go with Leon Bischel. By the way, you wonderful everydayers chose Rope Hintz as your shooting star. That was a big fat bullseye from you. I thought Hintz had one of the better games for Dallas in that loss to New York. You guys just hitting it on the nail here. You got a couple right over the last 4 or 5. So kudos to you. Going with defenseman Bischel tonight. We'll have some more updates on Dumba as the day moves along. Be sure to follow Locked On Stars on Twitter. You can follow me, Joey the Jet 19. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. We are almost to 3,500 subscribers. By the way, a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you wonderful Stars fans out there. Hope you enjoy your Christmas break. Enjoy the New Year's. Be safe, of course. Eat some good food and enjoy some Stars hockey. Well, maybe not enjoy, maybe be infuriated, because that's sort of how it feels here over the last few weeks. 8 o'clock puck drop tonight against the Utah Hockey Club on Victory Plus. Just a quick rundown of what to expect. I will have an episode out tomorrow following the game. I think I'll have a Wednesday edition out. I can't make any promises. I'll be certainly having an episode out on Christmas Eve. I probably will not have one out on Christmas Day. I should for sure have one out on Friday ahead of the Minnesota game. So I may miss a few dates here over the Christmas break. So do not be alarmed. But I'll have one out on Friday for sure ahead of the Wild game. And then we should be back to more regularly scheduled programming. We'll have 3 games this weekend with the ice race. So I'll be busy calling games. So plenty to do here over the Christmas break, but I'm looking forward to it. It's nice being able to just kind of do nothing for the last 5 days, to be honest, but spent a little more time doing the podcast, which is always a good time. And I appreciate all the love and support and you guys tuning in every day. I've been doing this now for almost a year and a half, and it's been an absolute blast. I'm blessed to be able to do this. So anyways, enough rambling. I hope you enjoy your Monday. I'll be back with an episode tomorrow. Merry Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas, because I may not be seeing you guys until after the break. Have a great day. So long, Stars fans.